ladies and gentlemen, please give a really warm welcome to Skylar Acamesis.
Hello, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here with all of you tonight. I can feel, believe it or not, I can feel the love in the room. I can feel all your beautiful energies, all the beautiful people. You guys have really been spoiled. You have had some absolutely amazing speakers on today. Bear with me. I can be a bit of a technology person, and I'm going to structure this talk a little bit differently than has been structured. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk for about 30 minutes, and the rest I'm going to do readings and healings for people when they ask questions. Is that all right with everybody? Yeah? We get some actual practical stuff going on instead of just conversation. I'm going to be talking to you about manifestation. And hopefully I'll share with you something new, because this conversation about manifestation is not a new one. Most of us have been reading the same books, listening to the same audiobooks. I don't presume to be sharing something new with you today. I'm just presuming to take you deeper into my journey and offer you some tools that help me a lot to take my manifestation from the beginner level to a really advanced level. And I am really, really, really close to Todd because I'm his wife, okay? Just so you know. Okay, so I'm going to press the button. Magic. Okay, this is me. I'm a director at Pandora Star. I work with Todd. I'm an author, I'm an energy healer, and I'm an advanced theta practitioner. If you want to find my website, there's a ton of free videos on there, 2 and 3 hour long, because I do talks every Tuesday night. They're all free. You can find them on there. Just type in my name, and that's it. Okay? That's what's useful from there. So tonight I'm going to be talking to you about 2 different modalities, because that's how I work. Okay, anything from what I'm sharing, any language that I use which triggers you, okay, whether it's God, creator, angels, whatever, if it triggers you, block it out. Does that make sense? Yeah? I'm sharing it with you because that's the path I'm using to master my spirituality in this lifetime. Okay? Everybody has their own path. Everybody has their own way. Take what's useful for you tonight and use it. Okay? I don't think these modalities are better than anyone else's. They're just my path and the way I'm practicing in this lifetime. Okay? So theta healing is a modality created by Vianna Stibbo. And basically, it uses the brainwave state to access the subconscious mind and the different spiritual planes of consciousness. It's not rocket science. You put yourself into a theta brainwave state, you access the limbic system of the brain, which is the emotional system. You tap into the heart, you tap into the soul, you tap into the collective unconsciousness, and things start to open up to you. If you... Oh, okay. Is that better?
Right the way out to the side, Skylar.
That better?
That'll be better.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay. So if you haven't heard of Vianna Stibbo, go on YouTube and watch her. She's a person who gets a lot of flack because she is a fantastic healer. She does do spontaneous healings in front of people. Okay, she's in Montana. So if you haven't heard of her, go and have a look. She really, really fascinates me. When I'm doing the reading section of the night, when I'm scanning your energy field, when I'm looking at your chakras, when I'm talking to your guides, when I'm doing the channeling part, I'm mostly using theta healing and I'm using channeling. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? When I do downloads for the group, which is basically putting in beliefs on different levels of belief for different energy centers and removing beliefs from different energy centers, I'm also using theta healing. Oh, is that okay with everybody? Yeah? I will always, always, always ask you for consent. If you don't want it, just say no. Okay, it's like we were talking about earlier with both the psychopaths and with my husband. Sometimes no is the most loving response. Okay? Unconditional love does not mean you lose all your boundaries and you lose your head. Okay? That's not love. Love can mean no in many different ways, okay? So you'll see me doing that a bit later. Course in Miracles is a complete self-study program. It's not a religion. It's not a cult. It's a practice. It's not supposed to be used by itself. It's supposed to be added on to your life. That's the plan. It's got 3 texts, a workbook for students, a manual for teachers, and a main text, which is the bit that scares most people. The workbook consists of 365 meditations. It means every single day in the morning for 10 minutes, you give your mind to love every day. And the first 6 months of the year are dedicated to undoing thoughts of fear, and the second half of the year is designed to teaching you thought forms based on love, okay? So Course in Miracles you can get totally for free online, or you can buy a big chunky book I do it online, and I also have it on my Kindle because I just won't lug it about with me. Yeah, and I need to actually get in it to do it. But it's very, very effective. These two healing modalities have saved my life, and they've saved the lives of many of my clients when they've been applied, because they reveal deep spiritual ultimate truths. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the principles of the Course in Miracles and how they relate to manifestation. But first things first, I just want everyone to close their eyes, and we'll just do an opening prayer. I'll just do a quick one. Just close your eyes, take a nice deep breath for me. Good. Okay. O great Spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. I thank you for my life, and I thank you for these good, good people. I thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. Aho, Amen, Namaste. Okay. Just letting that space open, and when you're ready, just opening your eyes. So, one of the most important things that we don't realize we do every morning is we have a decision to make. We have an opportunity. Every morning when we wake up, we make a decision. Whether or not we place our minds in the hands of a thought system based on love or a thought system based on fear. Now, you guys have heard all the political stuff, all the corruption, all the ET stuff, many of the other darker conspiracy things, and all the false news and stuff that's coming in, war, disease, hunger, famine. If you wake up in the morning and that's the first thing that your mind gets exposed to, your mind is on that path throughout the day. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? Now, I don't advocate not talking about the real experiences that people have on this planet. But what I do say is that you need to change your vocabulary around it, okay? And that's the first thing I have with the daily meditation practice in the morning. So the first thing in the morning is that you recognize that these things, disease, illness, corruption, fear, pain, they're illusions. They're very convincing illusions. Anybody heard of that prayer in the Bible that says, though I may walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil? I don't treat illusions like a joke. They're not. Some of the scariest illusions I've had to deal with in my life have been terminal illness, have been poverty, have been watching people I love deeply struggle with cultural and political corruption. Illusions are no joke. Does that make sense to everybody? I've had people call me, tell me they're losing their house, they're losing their marriage, they're losing their health, or they're dying. And manifestation is not a superficial thing. Manifestation is the ability to create miracles. It's a shift in perspective from one of fear to one of love that allows things to happen. Now, miracles occur naturally. Something unnatural has happened when they do not occur. You should be healthy normally. Unless someone intervenes by adding toxins to your food by putting pesticides and stuff, unless somebody proactively intervenes with the food chain, health is a natural thing. Does that make sense to everybody? It can be the same thing with emotional toxins, cultural toxins, doesn't matter. Without the intervention of fear, health is natural. The same thing goes for financial health, for political health. In A Course in Miracles, it says there's no such thing as a neutral thought. Okay? We wander around acting like we don't know why the world is in the state that it's in. We think we can sit on the fence and be neutral about the way things are. Neutral is not love. Neutral is not loving. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? So when you're not loving, in the absence of love, there will be fear. It is that simple. It's not rocket science. In the absence of love, there will be fear. Now, what we were talking about earlier, in the earlier talks during the day about political, manifesting a better political culture, ending the different systems that are currently holding sway, ending the corruption, ending things like, manipulation on a spiritual level as well, people draining you of energy or psychopaths. You're really talking about acknowledging the deepest illusions that we carry, but also taking responsibility for the lack of love that has permeated these areas of our lives. When we got faced with the deaths of our spiritual leaders, people like Martin Luther King and Gandhi, instead of filling that space even more, instead of flooding into that arena, we kind of left because we were so wounded and hurt. Spiritual people left politics. Spiritual people left religion. Spiritual people, people with a heart and emotions and conscience, left the areas where they were needed the most. Does that make sense to everybody? We need people with a heart, with a conscience, with a soul, with integrity in these areas of our lives, more than we've ever needed them before. The more that there is fear in an area, the more you need love to make it happen. And I'm not talking about painting shit with pink paint. I'm talking about actually clearing out what's there. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? So the first thing to recognize is that you have a decision first thing in the morning. Am I going to place my mind in a thought system based on fear or a thought system based on love? If the first thing you do when you get up in the morning is pick up your phone, you chose fear. Does that make sense? Okay? If the first thing you do when you got up in the morning is sit down and meditate, pick up a spiritual book, literally turn around to your partner and tell them how much you love them, you chose love. Does that make sense? Yeah? It's a simple thought. It happens in an instant. The next very important trick to manifestation, right, is shifting from body identification to spirit identification. Okay? That sounds complicated, but it's really not. Most of us, by the time we're 2 years old, believe we are a physical body. If you got raised in a very scientific family like I did, you have a lot of bombardment that you're nothing more than your physical body. What happens when you think you're your physical body is that you believe your body is real and you believe the illusion is real. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? So when you believe it's real and you're trying to manifest from the belief that you're one tiny speck in the universe, separate from everything else, it's very difficult to manifest things. It should be obvious why, right? Because when you're coming from something that's not true, it's very difficult to work with an ultimate truth like the law of attraction, okay? It's not true that you're a small, separate being from everything else. It's an experience you're having right now. Birth was not the beginning, death is not the end. It's a much, much bigger thing than we're realizing. So it's shifting to remembering who you are. Who you are is love. Who you are is the power and divine intelligence of the universe. Who you are is peace. Who you are is joy. Who you are is grace. Who you are is excellence. And when you remember those things, you start to show up as those things. Okay? We still have this belief, which is predominantly what creates cruelty in our world, that we can somehow teach love through fear. We're learning something from that war. No, we're learning something from that abusive relationship. No, I'm learning something from being ill. You're not. Let me just put that way out there, no matter how much triggers anybody, you're not. And I'm not saying that the Holy Spirit or the universe won't make amazing things and teach you amazing lessons from a difficult situation. But those situations were not put in your life by the universe so you could learn a lesson. They were created in your life because of mistakes in thinking, places where you were still coming from a place of fear. And the moment you handed them over to the universe starts creating miracles around it, but the universe did not create the shit. Does that make sense? The universe is like a GPS. If I'm in the car and I say, I want to go to London, and then I take a turn off for Bristol, the GPS will recalculate. The GPS is intelligent, but I still said I wanted to go to London, and I still got lost. Does that resonate with everybody? Yeah? So it's not about blaming anybody or anything for what they've created, but it's about getting really conscious that whatever we think, the law of cause and effect operates. If I'm thinking in a way that's full of fear, I will create fearful things in my life. And if I believe that I need fear to learn, that's what will happen. In A Course in Miracles, it explains that to teach is to demonstrate. Okay? And it's a process that's not new to us. We talk about it in psychotherapy and NLP. And angelic healing, that when someone wants to learn something, they have to model somebody doing it well. Does that make sense? If you want to learn something, you have to find someone who's the best at doing it, and you have to copy what they do. So when in the Bible, for example, it says go out and teach or share the book, it doesn't mean go out and beat the person over the head with the Bible. It means go out and demonstrate love. Now, we don't have practical knowledge of how to apply love in political situations. We don't have practical knowledge of how to apply love in our medical system. We don't have practical knowledge of how to apply love in our families, because where it gets difficult is where our needs seem to conflict with the need of another human being, and that's where our fear starts to come out. So that's the second thing you have to really remember, is that you have to know who you are. And the moment that you know who you are, you have to pray and ask for help. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the fear mind or about the ego here. Everyone's confronted with this every day. Every time you walk into a room, you might find yourself in a situation. So I will share one with you that I used to be confronted by all the time. So I used to have real abandonment issues. And every time my husband went out and I didn't know what time he was coming back, I would really start to freak out. Does that make sense? Yeah? Now, when I'm talking about the ego here, I'm talking about the belief that we are small, separate souls. I'm not talking about the Freudian term of the personality or the subconscious mind. Does that make sense? I'm talking about the Eastern ego, which is way older than us and will be around way after we're dead. It's a much bigger collective thought form than an individual ego. When people say love your ego, they're right. They're talking about loving your personality and loving your sub-personalities. When the Course in Miracles talks about the ego, it's talking about the belief that we are all separate, that we don't need one another, and that we're unlovable. Okay, so that has to be clear before I go into the next bit. So when I'm at home and I'm getting neurotic because my partner hasn't called, my ego would try and tell me, right, that the best way for me to manifest the love that I want in this situation is for me to tell him when he comes home that that's not acceptable behavior. Does that make sense? Right? The ego is really clever. It doesn't just create the situation. It doesn't just set you up for failure. It then kicks you when you're down. Because when my husband walks through the door and I tell him, where have you been? Why didn't you call me? You don't love me. And he goes, I'm a free man. Right? Why don't you trust me? And of course I love you. And he storms off. I don't get any love. And my ego turns around to me and goes, you're such an idiot. Why did you say anything? Does that make sense? Yeah? So the ego sets you up for the fall and then it kicks you when you're down. Right? It says, hey, if you attack someone, you will create love. It's not true. It's not true in any context. Politically, emotionally, socially, physically, spiritually, whenever you attack, you get what you've just given. And it may not be immediate, but it will be in the long run. Okay? Now, it's not easy to recognize it in that way. So if you're in the same situation and the Holy Spirit or your angels or stuff speaks to you, it says, okay, he's not home yet. Awesome, you've got 20 minutes to calm the hell down. Does that make sense? You've got 20 minutes to get back in your right mind, to get back into a loving state. Do whatever you need to do. Meditate, do yoga, go for a run, call your best friend. Do whatever you need to do so that you recognize that you're insane right now. And then when that person comes home, you're actually available to be more loving to them. And if there needs to be a conversation, if there needs to be a communication, the word communication has the word commune in it. Okay? I can tell you something, but if I'm coming from a place of fear or anger, there's no communion, there's no connection. You won't be able to hear me. That's why you can have a screaming match and there's no communication going on. People, especially my clients, when they come to me often, if they've had a problem with their partner, and they're like, but I told them I would leave. And I was like, yes, but who were you being when you told them that? If you were being fear, they wouldn't have been able to connect. They wouldn't have been able to hear you. So who we are when we're communicating, how that message comes across is so incredibly important. Now, there's 3 stages to manifesting. So when you're in that situation, and let's say you're like me and you're a bit neurotic, or you were in the past, and your partner hasn't come home, the first stage is to go, okay, universe, all I want to do right now is send a dozen text messages. All I want to do right now is send an angry email. All I want to do right now is wait till he comes home and tell him off. Right? I'm clearly insane right now. Please help me. Does that make sense? You have to recognize you're in fear. You have to recognize you're in pain, and that pain wants to project onto that person. And that the moment that that's happened, the moment that shift in your perspective has gone from self-responsibility to the responsibility of another person, you've given them all your power. Does that make sense? Everybody with me? I'm sorry if I'm saying that a lot. I'm nervous, okay? Bear with me. So the moment you ask for help, the universe intervenes. The moment you say to the universe, okay, I'm a bit crazy right now, I need help, the universe sends a miracle, which is a shift in perspective from one of fear to one of love, which enables you to either have that difficult discussion, step into that difficult place, move, or see the situation differently so that you can behave in a different way. And I'm going to say this, again, it's really important to say, your ego always thinks it's someone else's fault. Always thinks it's someone else's fault. Okay? Period. It thinks you're literally the spiritual police force of the universe. Your job, according to your ego, is to take all of your spiritual knowledge and tell everybody else how they should live their life. Right? Your job, according to your ego, is to basically make sure everybody's applying their spiritual practice the way that they should be. And that's the most natural instinct if we don't have any sort of training. So the Course in Miracles says we achieve so much because we're undisciplined. We have an undisciplined mind. Right? So the first thought normally that we have if somebody does something wrong is, I'm going to tell them exactly what's going on, or I'm going to ignore it and pretend nothing happened. Both of those things are not love. Both of those things are still fear. Okay? And these are the biggest blocks to manifestation, because in the absence of love, literally fear dominates. And when we want to manifest something, we have to be open to allowing things to enter into our life. Okay? Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm clearing up the metaphysical problems, which is like a fifth dimension issue. Okay? So if I clear up the metaphysical issues on the fifth and sixth dimension, it's going to be way easier for me to work on the deep emotional issues I'm about to bring out of my nice metaphysical hat. Okay? Because the next thing that comes up when we're working with manifestation that most people don't realize is consent. Okay? So most people know that the law of attraction is really basic. I'm going to start thinking positive things, and then good things are going to come to me. But this is how it actually works, right? The good things are always there to begin with. Love is the only thing that's real. The good things already exist, right? It's the fear that's blocking them from entering. The first page of A Course in Miracles says, you don't need to do anything to create love. You simply need to remove the obstacles to love's coming. Okay? So when you say to the universe, let's use, for example, please bring me health. Okay? One of my biggest ones was working with illness on myself. It was like, universe, please make me healthy. The first thing the universe will do is it will take this big magnifying glass and it will point it at the areas of your life where it isn't being given permission, emotionally or spiritually, to enter. It will show you the loveless behavior, the ways in which you are blocking health inside your life. Everybody with me? Yeah? At that stage, people normally end up on my couch. And they're normally like, I tried this, it didn't work. Why is this happening? I asked for something and things got worse. Right? And it's because the universe is asking for permission. When it shows you an area where you're in a toxic relationship that might be contributing to an illness, when it shows you an area of your life where you're eating things that literally contain poisons, when it shows you an area where you literally use food to stuff down emotions, where it shows you an area where you're unwilling to trust anybody, that you think anyone that would come close to you, even the medical profession, would abuse you, it's saying here, this is where the fear is, this is where the love of the universe cannot get through. And the moment that you say, okay, I give you permission to remove those beliefs, I am willing to change, as Louis Hay says, that's when those areas of your life start to move, that's when the manifestations start coming thick and fast. Okay? So there are different levels of belief. So when we're trying to clear beliefs, right, most of us only work on an intellectual level. We believe everything is mind. So we're trying to clear beliefs just about the way that we think, and it's very effective. In psychotherapy with hypnosis, you can change your conscious mind and your unconscious mind. If you're advanced, you can start to travel into different planes of consciousness using different trance states, right? It's been done for a very, very, very long time. But when you're actually clearing beliefs, most of us are only clearing them intellectually. So when I'm doing the readings for you guys, what you'll see, when you see me scanning somebody, like looking at you and reading your energy, right? What I'll be looking for and what I'll be seeing is that there's 4 different levels of belief and emotion. The first one is here, and it's in your prefrontal cortex, and that's all your beliefs from 0 to 10 years of age. Okay? So anything that happened in your childhood that's influencing what's going on now, beliefs, if I'm talking to you, this will light up if it's a childhood trauma. If it's a past life issue, if it's from another planet, if it's a soul plan issue, if it's about soul contracts or soul issues, your heart will light up. Because we carry the memories inside our heart throughout different lifetimes. Our soul energy is carried in our heart and in our eyes. Okay? So for me, the eyes and the heart will light up if that's what I'm looking for. If the periphery of your aura lights up, like a bubble around here, I know it's collective. I know it's to do with something you either experience in this life or another life, on the collective consciousness level. So you either experience the trauma around disease or famine or politics or being psychic or being spiritual or being abducted on a collective level. And those beliefs have been sitting there on the collective or historical level. And last but not least, your whole body might light up. And when that happens, for me, I know that it's genetic. I'm dealing with information that came down from your ancestors, that came down in your DNA. Okay? Now, the information you carry in your DNA goes back up to 800 years. If you think about the beliefs people were carrying 800 years ago about being a woman, about making money, about who they were, about religion, about spirituality, some of that stuff is really, really, really outdated. Right? When they look at DNA, they always say that there's tons of stuff we don't use for anything. And that's not quite true. It's like saying, oh, because you don't use most of your brain consciously, it's not storing anything. A lot of it is memory. A lot of it is that understanding. And people are like, oh, you're not really learning anything new. You're remembering. So you have both good things and bad things in your DNA, and good things and bad things in your soul. So the same way I can look inside your heart and tell if you've ever been enslaved in a different lifetime, when I look inside your heart, the same gifts, like instantly being able to play the piano, being a natural healer, all those things are also kept inside your heart in between lifetimes. So you can basically work on a skill moving forward, right? It's the same thing with a collective and historical unconsciousness. I can tell if you were part of the civil rights movement. I can tell if you've been a suffragette. I know where you've had experiences that allowed you to overcome obstacles in the past, or if your ancestors did, based on looking at your energy field. Okay? So these are the different levels you have to allow beliefs to be removed from and replaced from. Also, on a gene level, you can have bits of your genes missing. Your genes and your DNA are directly affected by trauma. Okay? If you've read Dr. Bruce Lipton's Biology of Belief, if you've read the book The Gene Genius, they go into depth about how that actually works. But our emotions, our thoughts, our environment directly, and especially pesticides and diet stuff, directly influence our DNA. So often when we're trying to manifest, we need to allow the universe to work on that level with us, because we've allowed the environment to do damage on that level. Is everybody with me? Yeah? So when I do downloads with you guys, I'm going to be asking for permission to remove the beliefs on all those 4 levels and to replace them with positive beliefs on all those 4 levels. Okay? So you'll feel it going deeper than normal, because normally you're only doing this work on a conscious level. You're not actually doing this work on many different levels at the same time. But it does make the manifestations go a lot faster. You are free to use this stuff long after this presentation is over. It completely changed the way I manifested things and how quickly things came to me. Okay. Been through that? Okay. So earlier on, when we were doing the panel, for those of you who were here for the panel, the speakers were talking about why we don't manifest a better political system, a better economic system, a better medical system. And one of the things very few people look at when they're manifesting is where they're manifesting from. We do not ask for too much, we ask for too little. The average vision board I see has a new car on it, a home on it, maybe a successful business on it if the person's thinking a bit bigger, a healthy diet on it or a healthy body on it. Rarely do I see peace on earth. Rarely do I see a healthy political system. Rarely do I see people happy and connected with one another on their manifestation list, right? If it's not on the board, it's not getting created. Okay? So that's the first thing, is getting into asking for what we really want in our hearts. And this is what the Course in Miracles really gets into, is how when we get into when we really get into a loving space, when we really get into our presence, you don't really come from a place of what can I get? You start coming from a place of what am I here to give? One of the most prevalent things in prayers in A Course in Miracles is why, instead of asking what, when people say, what am I supposed to do? It says you get to that situation and then you ask Creator, what would you have me say? What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? Where would you have me be and with whom? And then you answer. There's a similar section in the Bible where the disciples say to Jesus, how will we know what to tell people when we get there? When he says, go out and teach about what I'm teaching you. And Jesus turns around to the disciples and says, I'll tell you when you get there. And what he's saying is we have to make the time to quiet our intellect, turn within, and open our minds to the love that's within us and ask it what's the most appropriate loving response within that moment. Okay? So, thank you. So for most people, what they don't realize is they've never looked at what their families believed about health, about money, about finances, about their own ability, about spirituality. They've never sat down and thought about what they actually believe on a collective level. They've never sat down and gone, okay, if I think about America, what comes up for me? What triggers me about America? What triggers me about Americans? What triggers me about war? And recognize that the moment they have those thoughts, their energy field is going to light up with the resistance that they're carrying to be able to love in that space. Is everyone with me? Yeah? So if, for example, when I'm working with men in particular, I normally have to deal with war trauma. If you look at a war and traumas that are developed around war, not only does there damage inside the DNA from the chemicals they were exposed to and the trauma they were exposed to, there's also damage around communication, because if you're speaking loudly in the middle of a war zone, you're going to get shot. And then on top of that, you have to deal with the collective trauma that they got from watching other people be wounded. And they've proven now that normally it's second-hand trauma. It's trauma that happened to their grandfather or to their great-great-grandfather, just being handed down the generations, right? And most men won't know why they're so angry, why they snap so easily, why their tendency is to be aggressive. I've never met a man who hasn't been through at least 4 lifetimes of war on this planet. There are deep collective cultural woundings that arise. It's the same thing with family. If you look at what your family thought about money, about romance, about work, about friendships, about health, did you think the same thing? Did you believe that what they thought was the truth? Those beliefs, is that what you've created in your life? If your family thought you were worthless, did you agree? At what point did you forget who you were and decide that what they thought was true was the actual truth? Okay? So, many of these different rules and laws that come from a collective consciousness, whether it's for family or politics or behavior, it served us at one point to abide by these rules and regulations. And because we believed we would, we did learn lessons. The more lessons we learned, the more virtues we acquired. So let's say from a negative experience, we learned integrity, we learned truth, we learned compassion, we learned peace, and we learned how to love ourselves. And I'm coming along and I'm trying to remove that belief from your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind is going, this is teaching me all this stuff. I need this. So I can't take it out unless I replace it with what those actual lessons are and how you can have them in a healthy way. Does that make sense to everybody? Because you are learning, you are growing. You're just not learning and growing in the highest way or in the way that would meet your needs. You can learn all those things without having to carry the trauma with you to activate those qualities that you have inside yourself or to remind you to honor and respect other people. So would it be okay if we quickly did some downloads and then we'll start the questions? Yeah? So would you guys like to know that you no longer need to abide by your family, the collective consciousness, or political rules and regulations about money, romance, friendships, health, or creativity? Would you like to know it's safe to step out of these rules and to feel that it's possible to know how to do so with grace and ease? Can I release the belief that everybody's out to hurt you? Yeah? Can I release the belief that you're not human? Can Creator show you that it's safe for you to be human and still be your multidimensional self? Can I dissolve the shock and trauma of being surrounded by so many humans who have been fearful or hurtful? Yeah? Can Creator show you what it would feel like to be loved and accepted without having to follow the rules and regulations of humanity? Yeah? Can we download to you what manifestation is and make your definition of manifestation the same as Creator's? Yeah? Would you like to know what it feels like to know what your power is and that you can use it? Can Creator show you that insecurity, anger, and anxiety are a cheap substitute for real power? Can we download to you what real motivation is and show you the difference between motivation and anger, motivation and anxiety, motivation and pressure? And can we show you what it feels like to actually be motivated at your core? Can I release the war trauma from your ancestral line? Would that be all right? And can we also release the belief that it's dangerous to be powerful, that you'll be killed if you're powerful, and anything that you're still learning from persecution or drama? Yeah? Can we release the need to manifest persecution so that you can learn integrity, grace, peace, political peace, political connection. Would that be all right? Can creators show you that how to, when to, and how much to trust other people? Can we download to you what boundaries are and that it's safe for you to have boundaries? When to have them, how much to have them, and when you're using boundaries as a defense to taking responsibility for your own fears. Okay, that's looking a bit clearer. Okay, and can I also just release the belief that if you're loving, you'll be taken advantage of? And can creators show you that you have divine intelligence running through your veins? Your unconscious mind, a gift from the universe, by the way, can process more than 44 billion bits of information per second. If there's a psychopath in the room, it knows. You know when you can't tell, when you're too busy being neurotic to hear it. Does that make sense? It's an illusion that love will get you killed. What gets you killed is not hearing what your true messages are inside and following them. Being loving, all it will get you is more resilience. It means the fact that the world is corrupt will not stop you. It means that the fact that there are annoying people out there will not hold you back. It means that the fact that you may have had a hard morning won't make you be unloving to the next person that you see. It doesn't mean that you suddenly become oblivious to the suffering that's inherent in the human condition. It means you use a power greater than yourself to start to overcome and solve problems. Divine intelligence isn't stupid. Divine intelligence is incredibly, incredibly intelligent. Faith and love are not blind, they are visionary. They give you the ability to see. Without vision, people perish. To see a way forward, to bring limitless thinking to limited situations. I'm not advocating that we turn away from the darkness in the world. I'm advocating that we shine a light on it so fucking bright they don't know what the hell to do with it. Right? I'm not talking about backing down, I'm talking about lighting up. I'm not talking about the deep fear and pain that comes up around the illusions that haunt us and have haunted us for generations. I'm talking about acknowledging those illusions and saying that in the presence of the ultimate truths, they will fall. There is no other way. I'm talking about remembering how truly special and gifted divine intelligence in you is. Divine intelligence is what turns an embryo into a baby. It's what turns a seed into an oak tree. It is not dumb. It knows how to recalculate. It knows how to grow. If you think about your immune system, you literally have the ability to create new antibodies to every threat that's available to you, provided your body's in good health. We have babies being born in parts of the world right now that are being born with immunity to AIDS. Nature is intelligent. Divine intelligence is amazing. You're not putting yourself into the hands of a weak love. You're putting your hands and your mind and your soul into the hands of the most loving force in the universe. And we've been choosing fear and choosing attack and choosing jealousy and choosing competition and choosing death. This idea that we have to take down the world order. Who do we think created the world order? We did. Until we address the corruption in our own hearts, we'll create a new order with corruption in it. There is no out there. Whether you're seeking out there or whether you're seeking in here, if you're seeking, you've missed the point. Love is here right now, and that is what you are. You won't find it inside you. You won't find it outside of you. You'll only find it in the present moment. You don't have to look anywhere. It's what Eckhart Tolle says when he says the power is now. And that's when miracles start manifesting. That's when you start manifesting. Because when you're at that frequency, the universe knows that you're not just going to serve yourself, you're going to serve other people. So there's 3 levels to manifestation. And the first level, when you wake up spiritually, is self-actualization. It's when you're manifesting your divine life purpose, your life, what you're here to do on this planet. The next level is collaboration. It's when you come together in organizations to serve the greater whole. If you think about the organs in the body, all cells are created the same until they're exposed to different chemicals, and then one becomes a liver cell, one becomes a gut cell, and one becomes a brain cell. And like Marianne Williamson says, if one cell goes, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to serve the higher functioning of the body. And it becomes a mass. That's called cancer. And I think that's what's happening in humanity. We're becoming so caught up in this idea of we're better off alone that we're forgetting that we are a powerful force together and that we can trust and work with one another and that there is a way. And that if our grandparents and our great-grandparents who didn't have the internet, who didn't have Facebook, who didn't have phones, who didn't have running water and sewage, could find a way to overcome evils like slavery and sexism, we're really messing around. And it's time, if you've heard that call, the call that goes out from the universe all the time, asking you to show up, asking you to be that light, asking you to take your place in the loving space that's been created for you in the universe, asking for you to shine love on the people in your life, it's because you're being called. We're all being called. It's not just me, it's all of us. Every single person on this planet, 24 hours a day is being called. We just have a choice about whether or not we answer. And when we answer, everything that we ever wanted and more comes into our lives. And for me, that's what manifestation really is. It's about recognizing that when we stop thinking about how do I get what I want, everything that we actually need comes into that space. It's not an exchange. That's definitely a fourth dimension energy, that belief of I have to exchange. If I'm loving to you, then you have to give me something. If you're, Anthony Robbins calls it whoring. But it's when you believe you have to exchange energy. And if you have that belief, you'll constantly be in relationships where you'll give and you won't receive anything back. And particularly for healers, it comes from lifetimes where literally healers would have their eyes taken out, or they would have to give up their tongue or a part of their body so that they could sacrifice it to the gods to be given spiritual gifts. These are vows and oaths that have been carried for centuries. Would it be all right if I removed those for you guys? Yeah? Okay, Creator Healing, show me. And can I just complete any lessons and complete any traumas that you're carrying from those lifetimes and from the fourth plane? Would that be all right? And can we teach you the difference between gods and goddesses and creator? And that you can still be connected to gods, goddesses, angels, and still have a connection with the fifth plane, and you can learn to have a connection with the seventh and sixth planes. Would that be okay? Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and then do some readings and some healings for people. Is that all right with everybody? No. Okay, so stick your hands up if you want, and I will ask. And how long do we have?
15 minutes.
Perfect, okay. So I'm going to close my eyes, and then I'll choose whoever I'm told to choose, okay? So 1, 2, 3. Oh, whoever you are, I need the mic.
We have one over there near Andy.
Okay.
Is that okay? Take
Yeah,
that
that's
one?
There's so
perfect.
many to choose from. Sky?
Yeah, they're shy, they don't know me yet.
Behind
That's
you,
perfect.
Andy.
Yes.
Red arm. Red arm.
Red's perfect. Hi.
Hi.
How can I help you?
Oh, I'm very fearful about my health at the moment.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. I'm fearful about my health at the moment.
Do I have your permission to do a scan on you? Would that be okay?
Sure.
What's your name, darling?
Anne.
Anne. Okay. So what they're showing me is that okay, so normally when we're dealing with a lot of worry is actually the toxic energy you were stuck in long before you were not well. Okay? And worry is actually what's created a lot of these problems inside your body. I'm also seeing a lot of abuse being held in your intestines and held in your liver. Okay? You've had a lot of emotional and physical abuse when you were a kid too. Right? So there's a lot of fear about being able to be helped. Can I remove the belief that no one can help you?
Yeah.
And can we replace it with the belief of you know what health is, what it feels like, who's trustworthy, and how to be helped without giving away your power to the person who's helping you? Would that be okay?
Yes.
Can I release the shock and trauma of being ignored by doctors?
Yeah.
Can I release the belief that you're crazy, because you're carrying that from lots of other lifetimes? And can we show you Creator's truth, that you are perfectly sane, incredibly intuitive, and amazing?
Thank you.
Okay. Can I also release any beliefs that you have about that you need to age as you become old, that you need to become ill as you become older?
Yes.
Yeah? And any fears that you're going to relive what your parents went through or what people that you saw getting older went through?
Yeah.
Okay, you have a lot of support around you. You have a lot of really loving energies around you. Like there's a lot of angels around you when I'm looking at you.
Yes.
And they're showing me they're guiding you to make changes to your diet. They're guiding you to allow people they're showing me like things like juicing, like Gerson therapy, like literally taking particularly like they're showing me that you need minerals. So when
Okay.
someone's lacking in vitamins and minerals, they lack structure and organization.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
because vitamins and minerals literally make up the compounds that make up your DNA and your. So if you're not building or properly replicating DNA or the structure in your cells, it's difficult to create structure in your life. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. So you really need a lot of vitamins and minerals because you're lacking it at a structure. They're showing me you actually eat pretty well,
Yes.
but the issue is you're not getting minerals from your food. It's like you can't absorb it.
Okay. For sure.
Okay.
Mhm.
So they're showing me you taking something, and I'm not a doctor here, but this is what they're showing me.
Mm.
They're showing me you taking something like bentonite clay or chlorella to start pulling out heavy metals and different toxins from your blood,
Okay.
like every day, like 3 times a day over the next 6 months.
Okay.
Right? Sticking with the diet, but the most important thing for you is processing this abuse and it's rage that's being held generations back in the gut. Okay? They're showing me, can I download to you that you can do it?
Yes.
That it's possible to heal and that you know how to. And can I take back all the power you've given to healers, doctors, books, all sorts of, and divine beings to heal you? And can we teach you that your body's been healing itself since the day you were born?
Yeah.
That you literally regenerate every 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah? And can I also return to you the soul fragments that you've given away to other people? Okay, and can I unplug you from the collective consciousness around your illness?
Yeah.
Yeah, and can we plug you into Creator's light? Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay, can we download you with what trauma is, what it feels like, that it can be released and healed? And that it can be healed instantly. It doesn't have to take forever or be a long time. Okay, and can we show you how to connect, how to deserve love, how to allow others to love you without having to carry illnesses or weakness around with you to remind you? And last but not least, can I remove the belief that you're weak? And can we
Yes.
download to you that you are strong?
Yes.
That you've always been strong and you always will be strong. And the difference between strength and being shut down and the difference between strength and pretending everything's all right all the time. Can we make your definition of strength the same as Creator's? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, that's looking a lot better. You're welcome. Okay, can we have down here, Andy?
From the age of 15 up to 46, over
Mhm.
30 years, I was in severe depressions most of the time,
Yeah.
in hospital and in very dark spaces and not able to talk. I haven't had one now for about 7 years, but I've got lots of wounding and like post-traumatic stress
Mhm.
around food and lots of other things.
Mhm.
So if you could help me with any of that, that would be brilliant.
Okay. So for everybody in the room, when the body's had an illness for longer than 6 months, it stops being able to tell that it's not a long-term thing. Okay? So the first thing whenever you're working with anybody that's had an illness long-term is to teach the DNA and to teach the body that that illness is over, that it's complete. Would that be okay? Can we do that?
Yeah.
Can I send love to you as the baby in the womb?
Yes, please.
Can we teach you the difference between your emotions and your mum's emotions?
Yes, please.
Can we teach you the difference between the suffering of the woman in your female line and you?
Yes.
Can I release the obligations that you made with your ancestors to resolve all their suffering and clear all their karma?
Yes, please.
And can we teach you what it feels like to feel like a woman?
Yeah.
Oh, can we teach you that you're an adult?
Yes.
Can I release the belief that you need to be a child forever in order to be free?
Yes.
And can we show you what it feels like to be free as an adult?
Yes.
And to be youthful as an adult without needing to be a child or infantilize yourself or give away your power in order to learn those things?
Yes.
Okay, can I release the grief you're holding in your body and for all the other people in your family?
Yeah.
Can we show you how to be empathic without absorbing other people's emotions?
Love that. Yes.
Can we teach you the difference between depression and protection?
Yes.
And can we show you how to receive help, get help, and be seen without having to manifest depression?
Yes.
That one was really good. Not everyone lets me do that one. Okay, and can I cut your cords to people who are draining you?
Yes.
Okay, so they're also showing me you need to do some work around your gut health.
Yeah.
Okay, 95% of the serotonin in your body is produced in the gut.
Okay.
Your gut is unhappy.
Okay.
Okay, that means lots of probiotics, lots of fennel, lots of nettles, lots of green things.
Okay.
Potentially a colon cleanse
Okay.
is what the angels are kind of showing me for your gut,
All right.
because that's okay, and also a heavy metal cleanse.
Okay.
Particularly lead and cadmium will really mess around with your ability to keep a stable mood.
Okay.
Okay, and heavy metals kind of sink to the bottom of the body, they sink to the gut.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Can I release the belief that if you become powerful, you'll have to take care of everybody on the planet?
Yes.
Anyone else who wants that one, just it'll come in too. And can we show you the difference between being responsible and being a martyr or being controlled by other people?
Yeah.
Can I release the belief that you belong to a class, middle, lower, and upper class?
Yes.
And can we show you Creator's truth and what it feels like to be allowed to fulfill your divine life purpose?
Yes.
Because you're a healer too, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Can I release the belief that you need to hide in order to be safe? And can we show you what safety is and what it feels like in your body?
Yes.
Okay, and can I release the shock and trauma and the belief that you will be killed if you are powerful, you'll be killed if you're spiritual, and you'll be killed if you activate and work on your spiritual gifts?
Yeah.
And can we replace the belief with, I know what it feels like to have my spiritual gifts appreciated, nurtured,
Yes.
yeah? And to have loving teachers who work with me so that I can become the most beautiful light that I'm capable of being, not just for myself, but for all the people in my life and for this world.
Yes.
Okay, that's you.
Thank you.
What are we doing on time? Are we finished? 5 minutes. One more then. Okay, I haven't taken the one at the back on this side. Health, okay.
Yeah, just general health problems, been suffering with various health problems. So anything you can do to help with that.
You've got cords all over you. Is it all right if I cut them?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So you're having like very vivid dreams when you travel at night?
Sometimes, when I'm very tired.
Yeah, they're showing me that you're traveling at night and that you're getting, okay, so when we go out of body or when we travel at night, it means we kind of bend the laws of time and space, because we go from in this level of human time and human collective consciousness to the kind of like universal time and universal consciousness. And what's happening is that your energy is kind of getting left in lots of different places. Can I bring it all back to you? Would that be okay?
Please do.
Okay. Can I release the pressure you feel about time?
Yes.
Yeah? Can I release the belief that time is the root of all evil?
Yeah.
That it controls you, that it traps you?
Yeah.
That you don't have enough time?
Yeah.
And can we download to you what divine timing is and make your definition of time the same as Creator's?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so they're showing me that, and this, I'm not a doctor, okay, so just like the biggest disclaimer on the planet. This is just what I'm seeing. You can go and get this checked by someone. You might have to really push in the UK, right? But you can go and get this checked. They're showing me that you have a virus, and I'm not sure if it's the Epstein-Barr virus, but you've had it for quite a long time, and it's causing like autoimmune things that are becoming a major problem, and people are telling you that you're crazy. But that you have a virus. Would it be all right if I change it into a harmless form?
That'd be lovely.
To the best of my ability. Okay, Creator, fix it and show me. Okay, and can I also release the belief that you have a chronic illness? That it's always going to be this way, that you're never going to get better?
Definitely,
Yeah. The no one can help you beliefs. And can I release the shock and trauma of having the whole female line be ignored by doctors and clinical practitioners?
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of shock and trauma around doctors. If you medical system it hasn't always been what it is, and in many countries it still isn't. Because I'm from Brazil, and the medical system there is very different than the medical system here. But if you think that 500 years ago, 800 years ago, you went to a doctor and they thought the best thing to do for your health was to bleed you. Does that make sense? Yeah? So we have this trauma that sometimes we trusted someone who was supposed to be a healer, and they did the best they could, and we kind of passed away anyway. So can I send forgiveness to all those people in your life, all those doctors who have harmed you in this lifetime and other lifetimes?
Yeah.
Okay, and can we show you how to stand up for yourself within the system, and how to make sure you get well taken care of in the highest and best way without having to carry this old trauma with you to remind you?
Yeah.
And can I complete the trauma and complete the lessons that you were learning?
Yeah.
Oh, can we download to you what self-worth is and what it feels like?
Yeah.
Okay, and before I kind of pull out of you, you also have a lot of really loving energies around you. You have aliens, and you have angels, and you have fairies. And they're all working with you to help your body completely recover and heal. They're showing me like that you need to take something really for like 6 months to a year, something that's like really seriously antiviral, like really like cinnamon essential oil, or a food grade one. But something that directly has been proven to target viruses inside the system, because it just needs to be shifted. Does that make any kind of sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah? So I'm just going to complete the healing, complete the lessons. And before I do that, can I just can I clear all the contracts that you have with people that aren't for your highest good? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
And can we send out an energetic email for everyone in this room that wants it, letting everybody in their life know that they've shifted to a higher vibration and that they can now be found at this new address? Right? Ends a lot of drama, this one. People don't like you moving and not telling them where you are. It's rude. Okay, and can I also release the belief that you need this illness so that you can take care of yourself? Can we teach you that you can take care of yourself without needing to have an illness?
Yeah.
Okay, and can I also release the need to any ways in which you've obligated the people in your life to attack you when you start becoming successful, to protect you?
Yeah.
And can we download to you what it feels like to be successful, what it feels like to have other people love you when you're in success, and just completely kill any jealousy, any backtalk, any of that childhood bullying stuff? Okay, that's you, darling.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. I think that's me. I'm not sure where Sheila went.
I'm up here, and yes, you're very welcome to complete things with the audience and say thank you.
Okay.
So everyone, thank you very much to Skylar Acamesis. What a brilliant presentation.